You don't need a business. You don't need a lottery ticket. You don't need parents who already have money. You need three things, and none of them are impressive: time, consistency, and a number so small, most people assume it can't possibly matter. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you how putting away roughly $100 a month on autopilot with zero special knowledge can turn into more money than most people accumulate working full-time for 40 years. Not through a side hustle, not through picking the right stock, just through one decision, repeated and left alone. Here's a story that explains why most people never get here. For years, a friend of mine treated every paycheck like it would simply keep showing up forever. Lunches out most days, a wardrobe that got worn twice, and a vague plan to start saving next month that never actually started. Then a colleague sitting 3 desks over got laid off with no warning at all. Same experience, same seniority, gone in an afternoon. That was the moment the illusion cracked. The paycheck was never guaranteed. Nothing about it was. That's usually when people start paying attention to what compounding actually does. Not because they suddenly get smarter about money, but because they finally understand the cost of waiting. Step 1, and it's the least exciting one on purpose, the emergency fund. Before any of the math below matters, you need a cushion. Enough to cover 1, then 3, then ideally 6 months of basic expenses, sitting somewhere boring and accessible. Not because it grows your wealth, because without it, the first bad month forces you to sell your investments early, at the worst possible time, just to cover a bill. That single move is how years of progress get undone in an afternoon. The emergency fund isn't the exciting part of this plan. It's the part that makes the exciting part actually safe to do. Now, here's the part that actually builds wealth, and it's almost insultingly simple. Say you put $100 a month into a low-cost index fund, averaging a 10% annual return over the long run, compounding monthly. Returns aren't guaranteed, and taxes and fees vary by account, but 10% is a reasonable long-term average to illustrate the shape of this. After 2 years, you've contributed $2,400 of your own money. Your account holds around $2,660. That's just over $260 of growth, barely noticeable. And that's exactly the point where most people quit, because right now, you're the one doing all the work. Almost every dollar in that account is a dollar you put there yourself. Stretch the same $100 a month to 10 years, and you've contributed $12,000. Your account now holds roughly $20,500, over $8,500 that you never personally earned. Keep going to 30 years, and that same $100 a month grows to around $228,000. At 40 years, it crosses $637,000, built from just $48,000 of your own contributions. Everything past that number is money compounding made for you while you did nothing except not touch it. Here's the pattern worth noticing. In the early years, you're carrying the account. In the later years, the account carries you. Almost nobody sticks around long enough to feel that shift, because the boring years always come first. But most people never even reach year 2, and it's usually for one of 2 reasons. The first is the belief that they've already missed the window, that this only works if you'd started a decade ago. And technically, yes, the best time to start was years back. But the second best time is always right now. Because the version of you 10 years from today will either be glad you started or wishing you had. The second reason is subtler. The fear that right now specifically is a bad time. Inflation, interest rates, a possible downturn. There's always a headline giving you permission to wait. But zoom out, and this excuse has been available in every single year for decades, through crashes, recoveries, and everything between. People who wait for the headlines to sound calm again usually end up buying back in at higher prices than if they'd simply started before the news improved. time in the market has consistently mattered more than timing the market perfectly. Now, here's where this stops being a fixed number and starts scaling with you. Say you begin with $100 a month in your 20s. By your 30s, with a raise or two behind you, you bump it to $300 a month. Still assuming a 10% average return, you'd enter your 40s with over $117,000, a mix of about $56,500 in your own contributions and roughly $61,000 in growth that isn't. In your 40s, you increase again to $600 a month, and you cross $443,000. In your final decade before retirement, you push to $800 a month, and the total clears $1.3 million, built from just over $224,000 that actually came out of your own pocket. Everything else was compounding, quietly doing the part of the job you couldn't do yourself. That's the entire mechanism. Interest earning interest on a schedule you never have to think about twice. The last excuse is the one that sounds the most reasonable, that investing is too complicated to just start. Search for how to invest, and you'll find thousands of conflicting answers. Buy individual stocks, buy crypto, time the market, or avoid the market. Trying to reconcile all of it feels like assembling one puzzle using pieces pulled from 10 different boxes. But the actual mechanics of getting started are far simpler than the noise around them suggests. You don't need to master economics. You don't need to track charts daily. You need an account, a low-cost fund, an amount you can actually sustain, and the discipline to leave it alone. Picture two people starting the exact same year, same age, same income. One spends that year still researching, still waiting for the right account, the right fund, and the right moment. The other opens an account in a weekend, sets $100 a month to leave automatically, and stops thinking about it. A decade later, the second person has a 5-figure head start built entirely on doing the boring things sooner, not on picking anything better. That's the whole secret hiding behind this entire video. It was never about finding the perfect strategy. It was about not spending another year waiting for permission to start the simple one. If this changed how you think about that first $100, hit subscribe. That's exactly the kind of thing this channel exists to break down. And tell me in the comments, is the thing actually holding you back the math or the waiting?